How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Terminator Issue 5. This story is entitled Gemini Rising, and overall, I thought it was a pretty fun little Terminator story. Basically, the idea is two astronauts went up to set up a satellite, but they were never heard from again, and that satellite is super important. So they send up two more guys expecting the first crew to have mysteriously just passed away somehow, but we as an audience know that those Terminators are up to something. Yeah, they've commandeered a satellite. Yeah, I can only imagine what the Terminators could get up to with that. And I do want to say, I love this cover, but it does kind of set up the wrong idea. This cover is like, oh, what if a Terminator was like a whole spaceship or something? Which I would love to see, that sounds fun, but it gets you thinking this is going to be like, you know, action and lasers and over-the-top intense stuff. But this is a much more like smaller but kind of intense story because this is using 1960s space technology, you know, like pre-Apollo program stuff. So it's not lasers and jumping through space. It's more like, oh my gosh, we're up in space and so much could go wrong because we're so isolated. Yeah, the idea that you're fighting a Terminator on this tiny little satellite way above Earth, it's actually a really cool idea. Again though, the cover is just not super accurate. And I think this would actually, if you did it live action, could be a really cool Terminator short film. I would love to see that. But overall, this is a good idea for a Terminator anthology. It's a fun little idea that works super well self-contained. Terminators in space is something we surprisingly haven't done before, and the idea of Terminators jumping through history, this is an important part of history, and I love seeing the Terminators pop up all through the timeline. Overall, it's pretty cool, and we're really using the anthology to our benefit. I can't wait to see what else this book has in store for us. I did read the preview for issue number 6, and let's just say I can't wait to get my hands on that one. Anyway though, if you guys want to see a little bit more of this book, I'm going to switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys some of the story and some of the art. I'll try to be avoiding major spoilers though, but without further ado, let's switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle taking a closer look at Terminator issue number 5. And right off the bat, starting with the cover, that's a pretty cool cover. This Terminator spaceship hovering above Earth at night, that's pretty cool looking. I will say the spaceships in the actual issue are much more like standard old-timey spaceships, and this is just a cover design. Still, an interesting cover, and I would love to see Terminator spaceships. Flip it to the back, and the price is going to be $4.99, and this is cover A. Speaking of those covers though, even though this is issue 5, boy does Dynamite Comics love their variant covers. Some cool ideas in here, Terminator in a spacesuit, and this cool old-timey Terminator portrait. Some fun stuff. And also apparently next time we're going to learn about the T-600. I cannot wait for that. And I guess while we're talking about bonuses, I should mention that Buried Alive is concluded in this issue. Basically at the end of every Terminator issue, there were 2 pages of a continuing story. And I said previously that it was a little hard to keep up getting like 2 pages every month and trying to remember what happens or put them in context. And I think the best solution is just to wait till you get all 5 and read them at once. I reread the entire thing and it's much better reading it at once. But basically you get 2 Terminators with contradictory issues, and they're both going after the same person, one to hurt and one to protect. It's an interesting story, but it does wrap up really quick. You know, like with a lot of these anthology stories, I wish we knew more about like what caused 2 of them to be sent and what the importance is for the timeline. Still though, a fun little thing, but yeah, you had to really read it all at once. But after that, let's get into the story proper. This one's entitled Gemini Rising. Writer and cover artist is Declan Shalvey, and artist here is Joe Mulvey. And let's talk a bit about the story. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I want to show you guys some of the story and some of the art and say my piece on a few plot points. I'll try to be avoiding anything big, and I'll try to stay away from the end bits as well. But without further ado, to, let's dive in. I do love this first page, getting to see the Terminator eyes transform into the boosters of a rocket, and it kind of has this Kennedy quote about how we can't grasp how fast and how far we've come, and then it muses on technology after that. After that, we cut to Cape Canaveral in 65, and we see these two astronauts walk in when one decides to kill the other, and we can see now the artwork here is kind of cartoony. It's not bad artwork, but yeah, Terminator, I do expect grittier artwork, but yeah, a little bit cartoony this time around. But we find out that those two astronauts, they're supposed to be in space, but they've not received any contact back from them. They know their messages are getting there, but they're not getting anything back, and one of the two other astronauts suggests that maybe they're traitors working for Russia. They don't know and decide to send two more into space to go check on them, and we get some nice wide panels really taking time and showing the rocket go off. That's pretty cool. They say they were up there in order to put up an important satellite, and these two have to go and finish that objective, and they are also curious what happened aboard. Are they dead? One of them jumps out of the spaceship to go try to fix the satellite, and the one that stays behind peers in to try to see what's going on over there, and that's where we see an exploded space helmet, and we also see a Terminator's red eye. Yeah, it looks like the Terminators have taken over the rocket program for their own nefarious purposes, and that one guy's over there by himself while his partner's left behind on the main spaceship. There's going to be a bit of tension, and there is some fun action after that. I don't want to spoil it, but you really get to see, like, you know, how far out and how isolated they were, and yeah, that concept and vastness of space. And there's some fun ideas when that text comes back at the end, you know, musing on the difference between man and machine. Overall, it is fun. If you're expecting wacky space adventures with lasers, it's much more retro than that, but still a fun time, and I can definitely recommend it. And the anthology looks like it's really shaping up pretty nicely. Here's hoping as we get into the next round of books that we get more fun and unique ideas, but also hopefully going back and explaining how all these pieces work to the timeline. But I guess we'll see that in the future. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Terminator playlist, where you can see my reviews of all the past issues. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.